Good evening everyone, and welcome to Gundam News. And we're starting off with some bad or good news, depending on how you feel about Crunchyroll. Gundam.info has announced how Witch from Mercury will be available outside of Japan. And for those living in Asia and Oceania, it'll be available for free on the Gundam.info YouTube channel. However, for the rest of the world, we'll have to go through Crunchyroll. Or you can use NordVPN to set your region to Asia. So if you are affected by this, or you just want some extra security while browsing online, you can use the link down below or the code kkrt to not just get a sweet discount, but to also support the channel. And talking about NordVPN, Gundam Evolution. Over the past week, the player count has gone down, which isn't too alarming for a new game, but the review score has also gone down, and significantly. And the biggest problem seems to be the very aggressive monetization that makes it impossible for free-to-play players to get everything. Add this server issues that randomly yeet you from games and give you a temporary ban on top of that, and we've got an unfortunate turn of events for a game that's actually good at its core. And sticking with video games, the G-Generation Eternal closed beta test ended, and for a mobile game, things are looking pretty good. I am planning to release a more in-depth video about it next week, but do keep in mind that at the end of the day, we are still talking about a mobile game here, so don't go in with expectations of a console version. But now on to the future of Gundam. In celebration of the 45th anniversary of Gundam, they have just begun the Gundam Next Future Road to 2025 project. And unfortunately, both the title and the images make it sound way more impressive than it actually is. Because when I read Road to 2025 and saw an image of Gundam Thunderbolt, my first thought was immediately, we're getting another Gundam Thunderbolt anime. But no. Instead, as soon as I began reading the article, it was very simply that Gundam Thunderbolt, as well as Gundam NT and Hathaway's Flash, will be broadcast on Japanese television for the first time. Fair enough. Then there's also some groundbreaking news on various Gundam series getting reruns, again, on Japanese television. Fair enough. With the most important thing here being that they are still working on the Gundam Seed movie. I think that's the door right next to the guys working on Gundam Battle Operation 2 for Steam. But now we get to a really small thing that actually managed to really intrigue me. I've previously talked about how one of the big plans of Bandai is to reach out to fans and promote fan-made content. And in this article, they gave 3 examples. YouTube being the obvious one, then Google Ads, which is a little bit weird for fan-made content unless Bandai is planning to pay for advertisements for fan-made content they really like, which would be cool. But then the third one is Google Maps. Like, yeah, as a company, you can make something Gundam related and have it promoted on Google Maps, or like highlighted on Google Maps. Like, I'm sure the life-size Gundam is on Google Maps. But this is specifically in a portion talking about fan-made content. So I really wonder if they have some kind of crazy plan that they're going to do with Google Maps, or if they just threw that in there because why not? I really wonder what this is going to become. And what talk about Gundam's future would be complete without talking about the Metaverse project. And I feel like I always have to mention this, but this is literally what they are calling it. The website might be called the Gundam Base Virtual World, but they themselves are referring to the project as a whole as the Metaverse project. And other than the fact that the second test kicked off on the 28th after delay, I finally have somewhat good news. A few weeks ago, I covered the second wave of Gunpla scan testing, and the thing here was that you could now use your smartphone to, well, a smartphone provided at the event still, to scan in your Gunpla and then have it appear in a movie. And this could just be any Gunpla you had lying around, customized or just a straight build. Something that sounds like it would be awesome, especially once they make more movies available for it. And back then, I of course said that it would be great to have that as a standalone application. And for better or for worse, they are now planning on incorporating this into the Gundam Metaverse. So, in a way, I'm happy to see that the Gundam Metaverse now finally has a reason to be. In worst case scenario, it'll just be the Gunpla scan application with some extra things like just thrown in there that you can ignore if you don't want to. Also, in order to allow fans of different countries to better communicate with each other in the metaverse, they are developing a technology that will automatically translate what is being written in the metaverse. Google Translate is a thing. And finally, I again made an assumption. I saw the image, and I thought we were getting a Gundam VTuber. But it turns out that she's just going to be a virtual guide in the metaverse. She's called Mello, and she is an AI, and she is AI prototype number 1. So it seems like they're going to be rolling out more of them in the future, and one of the things they also want them to do is engage in conversation with the fans. Which then makes me wonder if they're actually going to be turning them into self-learning AI chatbots, or if they're just going to be there and you can choose to have a conversation with them through some pre-programmed questions. But besides that, I think Bandai really should look into getting a Gundam VTuber. But that's enough about the Gundam Metaverse. Let's move on to the Gunpla news, where we got some amazing announcements from the Hobby Next Phase 2022 Autumn event. And first and foremost, the long-awaited Master Grade Version Katoki 20th Anniversary Kit has been unveiled, and it was my first guess, the Zeta Gundam. And they didn't just show us one image, they immediately showed us everything. The transformation, the waterslide decals, part of the inner frame, and the accessories that it'll come with. And while it comes with almost everything that a Zeta Gundam should come with, it seems to follow the example set by the real grade by not including the Hyper Mega Launcher. And at a price of 7,150 yen, 50 US, that really would have been a nice addition. But it seems that the big thing they're banking on here is the transformation and also how sturdy it's going to be. Again, it seems like they're a little bit influenced by what was going on with the real grade Zeta Gundam. I'll have the promotional page linked down below where they have a bunch of animations and even an interactive transformation simulator. And all of this transforming goodness will be coming our way in February. And 1 month earlier, we'll be getting the Master Grade SD, which has been confirmed to be the Freedom Gundam. And it almost feels bad to say this, but I'm actually more impressed by this little guy than by the Master Grade Version Katoki Zeta Gundam. Because, well, the Zeta Gundam just does exactly what you'd expect it to do and didn't include the Hyper Mega Launcher. Whereas the Master Grade SD Freedom Gundam really goes above and beyond. Not only did they do what they said they were going to do by having an SD with a full inner frame and Master Grade-esque articulation, but they also included some really cool new stuff. What they're calling a reflection cut that will apparently cause clear parts to better reflect light for a better result, and real metallic gloss injection, which I'm just taking as better looking metallic parts without being actual metal. And in addition to that, we're also getting two-tone colors and a lot of surface detail. I'm usually not a huge fan of SD Gundams and their kits, but this has my interest. Just as with the Zeta Gundam, I'll have the promotional page linked down below, and I highly encourage you to go check it out because Bandai really did manage to pack a lot into this little guy. It stands at an impressive, for an SD, 11.5 centimeters tall, which is a little smaller than your average high grade, and it goes for 4,290 yen, 30 US. And just as I was editing this video, I saw that Bandai announced that they're already working on a second one. And we're not even close to being done, because next up are the Witch from Mercury Gunpla, with the big hitter here being the Full Mechanics 1/100 scale Gundam Apparel. It's a shame that it's not a master grade, but close enough. With master grades nowadays having simplified inner frames anyways, the only real difference between this Full Mechanics kit and a master grade are the marking stickers. And man, did they do an amazing job designing this thing. The proportions are looking really good, and I would say the best one so far, and I love what they did with the Gund arm system. Instead of just a sticker or a fancy molding technique, it's now actually molded with metallic and clear parts. The only thing I would change here is that instead of clear for the outside, I would make it more of a smoky clear to get a darker effect. The accessories then are the usual things: a beam rifle with beam effect part, 2 beam sabers also with beam effect parts, and a shield that can split into the different gun bits that can then be mounted onto either the Gundam Apparel or the separately sold Witch from Mercury weapon display base. The Apparel will only set you back 4,180 yen, 29 US, and is currently slated for a March release, and the weapon display base will be going for either 660 yen, 5 US, according to the Gundam.info website, or 550 yen, 4 US, according to the Bandai website. And this isn't a case of one has it listed with the tax and the other one without the tax. Both are supposed to be with tax included. But they are in agreement that it will be releasing in January, and that it will of course also be compatible with the 1/144 scale Apparel and Lefrith. One important thing to note here then is that each set only comes with 2 small base plates, some connectors, and 6 arms, meaning that in some of the promotional images they are using 2 sets instead of just 1. And let's continue with the other kits that are releasing in January. For 1,760 yen, 12 US, we first have the Michaelis, whose big feature is the claw weapon thing on its right arm. It can open up, looks super cool, and you can also attach a beam blade to it. The small thing on the left arm then is a shield that can also be equipped with a beam blade. Next up, for also 1,760 yen, 12 US, we have the beguir-pente or pende, a remold of the beguir-beu that now comes with a cross-shaped shield that has a sliding mechanism and also houses a beam saber that comes with 2 green beam saber blade effect parts. And it also has a beam cannon with movable handle. The other big differences then with the beguir-beu are the head, the backpack that now seems to be made more for speed and agility, and of course, the color scheme. And if you want some more mobility for your Gundam Apparel, then you can grab the Mirasol Flight Unit for 880 yen, 6 US. It's got what looks like a high mobility option. It can store the beam sabers of the Apparel and also comes with an extra set of open hands. And for even more flight options, we go to February, which is when we can get the Tigbalang sub-flight system for 1,430 yen, 10 US. And for just an aircraft, this thing is actually surprisingly well featured. It's got the normal things like handlebars on the top and bottom that fold open and footrests that slide open, but it's also got movable thrusters for VTOL capabilities and landing gear that actually seems to be deployable without the need for parts forming. Really not too shabby for a high grade. And the machine that you can see on it is the Zaward, which goes for 1,760 yen, 12 US. And I'm really digging the serious and utilitarian design of this thing. The beam sabers are on the back of the arms and come with 2 green beam saber blade effect parts, and it's also got a single rifle. And as chonky and immovable as the torso might look, Bandai does promise us that it will be pretty articulated thanks to some double ball joints. I also love the head of this thing, and I really hope that it's going to do well in the anime. Then the final February release is the Hindry, which is a unit that I feel took some design cues from the Death Army and the Tall Geese. It'll also go for 1,760 yen, 12 US, and the big features of this machine are the 2 shields. The one on the left arm can fold over the hand, and the one on the right arm not only comes with a standard gun, but it also comes with something extra. They don't say what it is yet, but I'm feeling a pile bunker. And then we move on to March, where we get, in my opinion, 2 very sad announcements. The Lefrith Ur and the Lefrith Thorn. Meaning that instead of announcing the pre-production type, Bandai is moving on. But I haven't. And while these 2 do look good in their own right, the pre-production version is still the best one in my opinion. But anyways, at 1,760 yen, 12 US, the Thorn is the cheapest of the 2, and also the weirdest of the 2. The arms are ridiculously long, and the legs are too short, resulting in a pretty unintimidating machine, which is unfortunate because I really like the head, the torso, the color scheme, and of course the very Advance of Zeta inspired backpack. And the gun is also really nice. But hey, on the flip side, it is a very different design, and that counts for something too. The more badass sibling then is the Ur, which goes for 2,090 yen, 15 US. And this thick machine comes with a Gatling gun. What more do you need to be sold on it? And well, the Gatling gun has a removable shield that houses 2 beam sabers that come with 2 pink beam saber blade effect parts, and it also comes with 2 open hands. Finally then, we've got 3 sets of decals that go for 550 yen a piece, 4 US, and an announcement that another Witch from Mercury kit will be releasing in March. But so far, the only thing that we know about it is that it'll cost 1,870 yen, 13 US, and that's it. We don't even get a silhouette, so stay tuned for more information. Then there was the teaser for the high mobility type Zakus from Kukuruzawan's Island, and there was even something for the H fans with the master grade Gundam Age 1 full Glansa. Both of these sets will of course be P-Bandai, and more information will be coming soon. And as the ice cream truck passes by, we also got some new SDW Heroes kits that all go for 1,320 yen each, 9 US. In January, there is the Superior Strike Freedom Dragon, which promises to be a very golden boy with what looks like a god finger. In February, we have the tentatively named new product A, and in March, we have the tentatively named new product B. And they also announced that these new Gunpla will be shown off at the All Japan Model and Hobby Show 2022, which will be held on October the 1st and the 2nd. So we'll soon be able to see the real deal. And what Gunpla news would be complete without some P-Bandai? First up, we have the Master Grade Eclipse Gundam plus Raijin Striker for a whopping 9,020 yen or 63 US. Or if you already own the Eclipse Gundam and you just want the new Striker pack, you can also get it as a separate set for 3,520 yen 25 US. And whichever set you decide to go for, pre-orders opened on Monday and they'll be shipping out in November. Those two beam cannons are definitely looking really nice, but I'm not sure how I feel about that green sensor piece that goes over the head. It definitely grabs your attention though. And alongside of it, the Master Grade Eclipse Gundam Maneuver Striker Pack and Aile Gundam also got a restock on P-Bandai. The High Grade Sleggers Jim and Master Grade Jin Gladiator then got a third round of pre-orders, and the High Grade Jim Spartan got a second wave of reservations that sold out about as fast as the first one. I found out about 1 hour after the new round of pre-orders opened, and it was already out of stock, so I'm really hoping for a third wave. And if figures are more your thing, then prepare to be amazed, because on the 28th, we got to see the latest Tomica X Gundam cars. For 1,210 yen, 9 US, there is the RX-78-2 Gundam, Shorts Zaku, and regular Zaku car. Dear God. Reservations for these and the other Tomica X Gundam items will start on October the 7th, and they are slated for a mid-March release. And no, these are not P-Bandai. Then we also got a first look at the Suletta Mercury figure that will be part of the Witch from Mercury Ichiban Kuji lottery. The figure will be the main prize, with tickets costing 700 yen each, around 5 US, and sales will start on November the 12th. As for the more movable figures then, the new Gundam mass production type got teased as a Metal Robot Spirits KA signature figure, with more information being released today, and the Metal Robot Spirits Altron Gundam got all of its details released. It'll be coming our way in April, and for 17,050 yen, 120 US, we're getting the Twin Beam Trident with effect parts, a stored Twin Beam Trident, extension parts for the arm, the shield, a variety of hands, and a nice base to put him on. Moving on to the other gaming news then. In Gundam Breaker Mobile, the T-Attribute High New Gundam joins the lineup. In Gundam Extreme Vs. 2, the Sengoku Astray along with its pilot Niels Nielsen joins the fun. And in Gundam Battle Operation 2, the Delta Kai hits the field along with a new map called Trenches. And I gotta say, from a realistic point of view, I do find it kind of funny to see these mobile suit-sized trenches, because they literally are just normal trenches upscaled to fit a mobile suit. But from a gameplay perspective, I can appreciate it. Then in other news, the 4th and 5th Reconguista NG movie will be getting a Blu-ray and DVD release on February the 24th and March 24th respectively. The series will be getting a compact Blu-ray box also on March 24th. Gundam Thunderbolt has a metallic bookmark campaign at Japanese bookstores for people who buy the 20th volume of the manga. We got this really cool cover art for the Witch from Mercury opening single, and a new side story manga of SD Gundam World Heroes, The Legend of Dragon Knight, will be appearing online this winter. And it's going to be about the adventures of the Night Strike Gundam, who is the nephew of the Arthur Mark III Gundam. As for the things you could get this week then. Last week Friday, you could get the Robot Spirits Strike Gundam version anime for 4,950 yen, 35 US, a set that comes with some sweet accessories and effect parts. It even comes with effect parts for the Vulcan guns. Now that's attention to detail. But if you wanted to go all out, you could also get the Aile Strike Pack for 3,850 yen, 27 US, which comes with even more effect parts. Or if you prefer cheaper action figures, on the same day we also got the latest lineup of the Gundam Universe figures. 4,950 yen, 35 US, got you the 00 Gundam with 00 Riser, and 3,300 yen, 23 US, got you either the GPO-1 Full Burnian or the very different looking Leo. In a good way. Like, this thing almost looks more like a development of the Leo, in the same sense that the Gym 2 is a successor of the regular Gym. And finally, on Monday, the first lineup of the new MS Mechanical Bust lineup made its way to Gachapon machines all over Japan. For 500 yen a spin, you can either get the regular New Gundam, clear New Gundam, or internal frame with light up feature. And this last thing can be combined with the armor parts of the first two, therefore giving you a very cool light up New Gundam bust. Moving on to this week's reading material then, there was the November issue of Shonen Sunday S Special, in which Gundam Aggressor is serialized, the November issue of the monthly Hobby Japan featuring a special feature on Gundam Thunderbolt with some really cool dioramas, the November issue of the monthly Model Graphics featuring a special on the entry grades and how you can totally make them rock, the November issue of Gundam Ace, Volume 24 of the Return of Johnny Raiden manga, Volume 20 of the Gundam-san manga, and Volume 2 of the Crossbone Gundam X11 manga. And with that, the time has come to have a look at this week's Gundam Apparel. And they started on Wednesday with the so-called episode series, which is basically a Haro design that consists of the names of all of the original Gundam's episodes. And what I find really commendable here is that all of them are only used once. They didn't reuse any episodes, they didn't skip any episodes, they made sure to make them fit perfectly within the design. And you can get that Haro on a t-shirt for 3,520 yen, 25 US, a cushion for 4,400 yen, 30 US, a pouch for 1,870 yen, 13 US, a glass for 1,760 yen, 12 US, and an acrylic charm for 880 yen, 6 US. And all of these items will be shipping out in November, which is also when the new Black Tri-Stars collection will be jet streaming its way to your house. The design is simple but effective. The Black Tri-Stars has 3 stars and their name written in English and in Japanese with some really cool calligraphy. And you can get this design on a t-shirt for 3,520 yen, 25 US, a mug for 2,200 yen, 15 US, a face towel for 2,750 yen, 19 US, a pass case for 2,200 yen, 15 US, and an acrylic charm for 880 yen, 6 US. And finally, you could order some backpacks to put all of that stuff in. For 9,350 yen, 65 US, you can either get a black Mafty, red Char Zaku, or moss green standard Zaku version. And these are currently slated for a January release. And finally then, let's quickly wrap up this week's Gundam news with the result of a poll that we had a look at 2 weeks ago. With the release of Gundam Thunderbolt's 20th volume quickly approaching, Gundam.info wanted to know which mobile suit is our favorite. From Gundam Thunderbolt, of course. And the expected winner was the main machine itself, the Full Armored Gundam. A machine that, according to the author of this article, not only stands out in Gundam Thunderbolt, but also amongst other lead Gundams. And he definitely has a point. We don't often see chonky Gundams as lead Gundams. Like, out of all of the animated ones, we had the Double Zeta Gundam, and then it's just like the Alex that kinda counts with the Chobham armor, but other than that, the only other big Gundams that immediately come to mind are non-main Gundams like the Virtue. So definitely a deserved win with 38.3%. Then in second place we have his arch nemesis, the Psycho Gundam, with 29%, and all the way back in third place with only 18.1% we have the Atlas Gundam. Another very unique Thunderbolt design, especially with those skis, that I kinda expected to do a little bit better. But so be it. And then finally, with 14.6%, we have Daryl's custom Ag search type. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.